And now, a message from the President of the United States.
Hey, this is Sin from Ministry and the Revolting Cocks.
This is, unfortunately, the last tour of Ministry. How do you feel?
It's a bittersweet feeling for me because I've been such a fan myself, you know, even growing up before I was lucky enough to be a part of the band. Ministry was one of those influential bands that really formed and shaped my way of writing, my way of performing. So the biggest and the strongest feeling that I have right now is I feel extremely honored and proud to have been asked to be a part of this. Am I a little sad? Yeah, I'm a little sad. You know, even from a fan's point of view, I would hate to see the band end. But, you know, I respect Al's decision. I know where he's coming from. As an artist, sometimes you get to a certain point where you feel like you've done all you wanted to do with that particular brand, with Ministry. It's not the end of Al Jorgensen. He's got a million other things to do, but with Ministry, he's at that point, and he's been there for a few years now. So I respect that, you know, so we all respect that, and we're having a blast out here. So. The new Revolting Cocks album is ready. It's done. We finished it last year. It's called Sexo Olympico. It'll be out in October of this year, and then there will be a Revolting Cocks tour next year, and we'll be touring America and Europe. The record was written by myself, Josh Bradford, who was the singer for the Revolting Cocks on the last tour 2 years ago, the keyboardist, Clayton Warbeck, who played keyboards on the last Revco tour, and Al Jorgensen. The four of us wrote this album. It's a little more electronic sounding than the last record.
Yeah.
It's closer to old Revolting Cocks than to the last record. And I went into that with a very conscious decision and effort. I wanted to make it very electronic-y, dancey, rock kind of thing. It sounds closer to, I don't know if you're familiar with No Devotion.
Yeah.
Okay, it's closer to that. And tonight, before every concert, before we hit the stage, we turn the lights off and we play a brand new Revolting Cocks song. And the song's called I'm Not Gay. And it's amazing. It's one of the best songs ever. I mean, you know, granted, it's not going to sound exactly like old Revolting Cocks, but it has that older spirit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I felt Cocked and Loaded was a little too rock for me. I didn't do anything on Cocked and Loaded. It's a good album, but when it was time for me to write music for this new record, I, being an old Revco fan, wanted to bring back that feel. And I think, you know, we accomplished that with this album. Al has told me that he's thinking about a new Lard album, a new Palehead album. He has been in contact with Ian. I haven't heard anything about 1,000 Homo DJs. I would love that. I think that would be amazing. But, you know, you never know. We'll see, man. In this business, you never say never. Things change all the time, and sometimes things that seem impossible, you know, end up working out and happening.
Do you remember the first time you listened to Ministry?
I think the first song I ever heard was The Land of Rape and Honey. One of my favorite all-time albums. And I was in a local Los Angeles band, and I heard that, and I was like, this is the kind of stuff I want to do. You know, my band members back then didn't understand me. They thought I was crazy. They you know, it was very thrash metal kind of band. But I always wanted to incorporate electronics. And when I heard that record, I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. There is other people out there that you know, are doing that, and they're doing it very well. So that's the very first time I heard Ministry. So that's why it's so weird, man, for me to be a part of, you know, The Last Sucker, the last album, and now to be in, you know, the Revolting Cocks and Ministry. It's very weird for me. It's surreal.
You're also part of the cover-up album?
Cover-up album, yes. Yeah. That album was, it was different and special for me, and it was a very big learning experience for me because growing up, I never really played a lot of cover songs. I always wrote original material. So when it was time to do that album, Al basically turned to me and he said, okay, you need to start learning these songs. So the very first song that I did was Black Betty. And, you know, basically I sat in a room with a little, CD player and a little amp, and I learned every note of every one of those songs on Cover Up. And then I made them into Ministry songs. I gave them that Ministry kind of sound. So I had to learn the original and then turn it into a Ministry song. So it was a big learning experience for me, and it was really cool.
There's always a politics side with Ministry. Is it something you really like to be in a band with a message?
I mean, I knew going into the band it was a political album I was going to be a part of, The Last Sucker, because it was the last of the trilogy. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not the lyricist, so my concern is the music. I do share a lot of the same views that Al does. We both feel that we got an idiot running our country at the moment, and but if it's not him, it's going to be another idiot that's going to come in to take his place with a different name, who's going to change things for a little bit, make things a little bit better, lower the price of iPods maybe for a little bit. Everybody gets excited, but you're still dealing with the same crap. You know what I mean?
Your point of view of the rock scene today?
A little dismal, to be honest with you. There's not a lot of stuff that excites me anymore, like when I was a little kid. I grew up, in the 70s. So to me, my all-time favorite bands were Kiss, Zeppelin, just those big, really big, rock bands. So that's what I always wanted to see on stage. I wanted to get a show. I wanted to, not go to a concert and have it just sound like I'm listening to the album. I like to experience something. I like them to do something more. So I don't know, there's a lot of bands out there nowadays. There's a few, but I think we're kind of in a lull right now. I mean, everything goes in peaks and valleys, and everything comes back again. Stuff from the 60s came back, stuff from the 70s is sort of coming back, the 80s now. So right now we're kind of like right here. I'm hoping it'll kick back up again. It will with the new Revolting Cocks. The French has been absolutely fucking phenomenal. We have a blast every time we're here. Last night's show, unbelievable, amazing. I'm looking forward to Hellfest. We're playing Toulouse as well. I think there's maybe one other place that we're doing, so I love it here. Many thanks to everybody that supported the band. I hope everybody comes back for the new Revolting Cocks album in October, and then the tour next year. So, many thanks to everybody around here.
Bye. Good? All right. Thank you, guys. Nice meeting you, man.